Hey everybody, it's Rob. We're just about to get started with this week's episode. Less than 10 minutes left. While you got a couple of minutes here, why don't you go check out otheanthem.com. It's where you can find everything Oh The Anthem, including the merch store, the podcast, and all of the videos. Open up a new tab.
Anchor.fm/Oh The Anthem is the place where you can get direct links to all the podcatchers you use to listen to our show every week.
Did you know we record every episode live on Facebook? Of course you do. But make sure that you're liking the page and turning on notifications so you get notified when we go live.
We make a ton of video content between the podcast, the short films, Heretics. YouTube.com/Oh The Anthem is the place for it all.
And of course you can find me on any social network at Robert N. Cheek.
And me at LegendCB5.
And you can find the podcast at Oh The Anthem on all your social networks.
The opportunity to talk to a couple people, you know, like.
Well, so here's the problem. As GOP superstar Lev Parnas mentioned to us this week, Lindsey Graham apparently had personal knowledge of everything going on in Ukraine.
Yeah.
How many of those senators also had personal knowledge? And if witnesses are called, names of the people sitting in front of them are going to be mentioned. And maybe they don't want to be mentioned. So let's just say you were a part of a conspiracy
Yeah.
to commit murder.
Okay.
And I was part of that conspiracy as well. Who is the number one person you would want on your jury for your murder trial?
You?
Of course you would. Because I'm going to be up there like, well, you know what, guys? I don't think any wrongdoing
I don't think
was
the
even done here.
timeline makes sense.
I don't think any wrongdoing was done. I don't even know why we're having this trial. Let's just cut this thing short. Witnesses? I don't need to hear from any witnesses. I think I've heard enough. Let's just wrap this thing up.
Wonder what about what?
Well, we haven't seen or heard of a girl, and...
Oh, Ma, come on, seriously?
Not that we would think that, but, we want grandchildren.
Girl first. Need girl, then we get kids.
Grandkids. They're already talking about grandkids. Don't even mention that when she gets here.
Of course. But I'll be thinking about it. Oh, is that her?
Who else is it gonna be?
Oh, go and get it!
I'm going.
Oh, shit.
Well, that's a nice greeting.
Sorry, babe.
So excited to finally meet your family.
I know, me too. Listen, before we go in,
What is it?
well, you know basically everything about me.
Well, at this point, I would hope so.
Yeah. But, my parents, the reason I haven't introduced you to them is because,
What is it?
well, they're different than you and me.
What do you mean?
Well, listen, you're great.
Are you ashamed of me, Tommy? Is that why I've never met them?
No, not ashamed. Never ashamed. Opposite of ashamed. It's just that,
Superman?
yeah.
What about it?
Well, my parents are Baddicks, like, really, really, really intense about Batman.
So?
So they expect me to date and marry a nice Batman girl.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Look, I know they're going to love you. It's just that once they get to know you, then we can ease them into the whole Superman thing.
Alright, Tommy. Alright, I just wish you would have given me some kind of warning.
Trust me, they're going to be so happy to meet you, I promise.
As long as I believe in their hero.
Please don't do this now, Steph.
Do what, Tommy? I'm not doing anything at all.
Then why do I get the feeling that I'm in trouble here?
I don't know. Why don't you ask Batman about it?
Shit.
Are you going to keep her standing on the porch all night, Tommy? Invite her in already.
I was going to, Ma.
Tommy, she's beautiful. A real gift from
Pop,
Anthem,
she's
huh?
right here.
It's lovely to meet you both.
You too, dear. Please, please come in. Dinner's ready.
Great, I'm starving.
Suddenly I'm not so hungry.
Oh, Tommy, you're such a joker.
You actually have some sort of really weird intestinal cancer that only seems to be caused by people who swim in shit. Like swim in a river of shit.
Yeah.
And then like just like the moment just sort of like hits me like flashback style, just like whoosh.
Fish.
I'm like
Smack.
I'm back at Oregon Ridge jumping in a lake going like I love the water.
Never put it in your mouth. Never put it in your mouth. Why
Well,
would
I
you
never
do
thought
that?
about it until just that second when all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, you got about 3 weeks because you have
Advanced bowel cancer?
you have shit creek cancer.
I feel like though that it's not just that
It's the type of cancer we've only seen from kids in Flint.
it. A whole separate issue about.
By the way, it's still not fixed.
Not
just,
fixed.
Just by the way, it's still not fixed.
And
And they don't have water coming their way anymore because they're. I mean, there's a small degree of pride that I feel when our men's basketball team is blowing out like
You mean when
Poland by 70 points or
when
whatever.
a team of professional basketball players beats a bunch of young men from a country who occasionally play basketball? Yeah. It's the Generals versus the Globetrotters,
Right.
over the course of a summer. Yes,
That dream team though, with
the
MJ,
92 dream, yes, the 92 Barcelona.
Oh man,
dream team.
that was great.
No, that was literally Globetrotters because they were doing behind the back passes. No look, and the team from Poland's just like, what game are we playing? I don't even know if this is basketball.
Wait a minute, isn't that technically traveling?
NBA
We
rules.
don't call it here. we don't abide by that rule in America.
He
Boom!
literally picked up the ball and ran from midcourt. It's MJ. He's allowed to do that. It's okay.
I think the one thing I noticed, and this is my only take on this, because I don't get into the false patriotism, and I don't get into the desire for America to win fencing or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's some sports I just don't care about.
This week on the OD podcast, we are, of course, doing an Academy Award recap. We were excited about the Oscars. Were you? We got thoughts on the show, including the big win. In sports ball, Mookie Betts is coming west just like we did. Why aren't you? It seems like everybody's coming this way. And we were very excited about the XFL opening weekend. We're going to talk about that so much in the news, politics-wise. Trump's acquittal and the impeachment proceedings. Doing Iowa things, and the State of the Union address. And of course, we got some Baltimore news in the Baltimore Corner, including some mayoral candidates getting crazy. So all that and more is coming up right on the OD Anthem podcast.
the sound doesn't matter for this, right?
No. I'm just gonna take out the. See a car all the way at the bottom of the hill. If he does make it all the way up, though,
Yeah.
we have 4 minutes,
Okay.
which I feel like would be enough that we can move it without
Sure.
anyone really noticing. Yeah.
And the sound doesn't matter for this, right?
No. I'm just gonna take out the. see a car all the way at the bottom of the hill.
No.
If he does make it all the way up, though,
Yeah.
we have 4 minutes,
Okay.
which I feel like would be enough that we can loop it without
Sure.
anyone really noticing. Yeah.
And the sound doesn't matter for this, right?
No. I'm just gonna take out the.
Oh, he posted some new stuff. It's a shame that Sorry, I said what?
This way. I see a car all the way at the bottom of the hill.
No.
If he does make it all the way up, though,
Yeah.
we have 4 minutes,
Okay.
which I feel like would be enough that we can loop it without
Sure.
anyone really noticing.
sound doesn't matter for this, right?
No.
I'm just gonna take out the...
See a car all the way at the bottom of the hill. If he does make it all the way up, though,
Yeah.
we have 4 minutes,
Okay.
which I feel like would be enough that we can move it without
Sure.
anyone really noticing. Yeah.
And the sound doesn't matter for this, right?
No.
I'm just gonna take out the...
see a car all the way at the bottom of the hill.
No.
If he does make it all the way up, though,
Yeah.
we have 4 minutes,
Okay.
which I feel like would be enough that we can loop it without
Sure.
anyone really noticing. Yeah.
And the sound doesn't matter for this, right?
No.
I'm just gonna take out the. Oh, there's the same stuff.
Version of Little Women, like it's not performed like Civil War, like, you know, oh dear Beth, I hope you find your way to the market,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
anything like that. It's like plain more modern, and the cast is incredible. So,
Yes.
but
I mean,
I still think
staying
I
power.
still think Little Women will probably have that a bit. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood will probably be the one we remember. Because once we don't have Tarantino anymore, I feel like we'll look at it a lot differently. You know, like
I mean, that is true too. It's
he kind of knocked it out of a park on a movie that everyone was expecting him to do that on. I feel like a harder feat in a degree. You know, like people weren't necessarily saying the director of Snowpiercer is going to blow my mind with his next movie.
Yeah.
So you're able to like prepare yourself, like, you know, like when you go into the movie and you get blown away by something, you're just like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting this, and it feels so much better.
Yeah.
But if you have high expectations already and then somebody meets those high expectations, it's almost like that's a more difficult thing that doesn't get enough credit.
Well, and I also think that there's a level in that of when Tarantino isn't with us anymore, we will build a thing of like, so the first three movies were
Right.
in this phase of his life, and then the middle three he went this other direction, but then
He
those
started going
last
into like
three-
revisionist history.
Yeah, then it got real interesting with this crazy thing that he did. And then the 10th movie that no one thought was coming. He said he was going to do 10, and he did his 10th movie, and it just blew us all away. But it was, you know, it was the one led up to that. It was he got Leo and Brad in a movie together, and they just knocked it out of the park. And then Brad in that movie actually knocked
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee
Yeah.
out of the park. That was really funny up until I screwed up that one. Jackie Chan. Oh well. Anyway, but yeah. So night, and of course, great because we celebrate Hollywood.
Yep.
And someday we'll be there because they need seat fillers every single year.
Some people on my Instagram story who were like there at the Dolby.
Yeah.
And I don't know like for what reason or anything like that. I was just like, that's cool though.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
I think though it's a little bit like going on the field during the Super Bowl. Like there's professional players who are there because they're buddies on one of the teams that's playing. It's got to just be cruel. Where you're there and you're in the audience and there's no chance your name gets called at all.
Yeah.
There's something about that just like.
Well,
no,
I guess
I'll
you get to enjoy it a little bit more because you don't have to worry about the like. If you're fucking, oh goddamn, director of Joker. God damn it, why can't I remember?
Todd
his name?
Phillips?
Todd Phillips.
Yes.
If you're Todd Phillips, you're just sitting there all night going like, come on, fucking best director. Give it to me. And like every award that comes up, it's just like, no, we're gonna do costuming. He's like, fuck costuming. Come on, let's get the fucking best. Let's just do it. Come on, I'm tired of just sitting here
The difference is
smiling and clapping. Give me the fucking award.
I will have walked in there knowing I went to 0.
I don't know why I'm giving Todd Phillips this like really dark interior.
Because that was his movie.
Fuck costume design.
But I feel like I would walk in there knowing I went to 0 Oscar parties. I put 0 effort into the push. So there's about a 1% chance of me winning. I'm just there to see what happens. But there is a chance. That's the thing. There's a chance.
When you get called, you have a piece of shrimp in your mouth. Like,
What? Wait, seriously? I mean, okay. Thanks, yeah.
Oh my god, I gotta pull up the guillotine speech on my phone. Hold on in here. Just it'll be worth it. Just hold it with me. It's in my notes here. So
Like, yeah, thank you to my parents. He said that making the biggest mistake of my life. To Corey, been supportive all these years. Roberto, wherever you are, sorry about those Trump years, buddy. We'll get you back in eventually.
well,
thank you to all the women in my life. And remember, the guillotines are the solution to everything. Where are you going with the money? Take to the streets tonight, people. Take to the streets.
the one thing you shouldn't forget though,
Yeah, what's that?
when you're in that moment, is anchor.fm/show the anthem.
Oh, that's
Just
right.
letting
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
that that would help a lot. Drop that on the Academy Awards.
I mean,
I feel like people would go to
go and check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's anchor.fm/show the anthem.
And
Or
it's
maybe
the place where you can find us on any podcatcher. So I don't see why they wouldn't find immediate value in that as well.
Yeah,
so.
but I mean, it is a visual medium because it's the Oscars. So maybe they would want to go to youtube.com/oh the anthem because they can get the video from every single episode, including not just the episodes of the podcast, but the stuff that we've been on. So if you're in the, maybe it's the sound categories. We want to make sure we throw out the anchor.fm.
Right, yeah.
Sound editing and sound design, which no
Sound
one knows.
mixing.
Sound mixing. No one knows what the difference between those two things is, but you do know what anchor.fm is.
Yeah.
And for the visuals, make sure you go on over to youtube.com/oh the anthem. So let's go from that to I actually do have a splash for. I wish I'd been more prepared for that. And we're going to Sports Ball. So, oh, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
This is a topic that I was 95% sure we talked about last week. Like, there was no way we could have talked about it last week. So
The news dropped on Tuesday, and this is a continuing in the series of had to like 7 weeks ago, right? When you're talking about something that happened this.
we're in the 71st week of January now.
Mookie Betts was traded to the Dodgers. It officially happened today. There was a little bit of a false start earlier, but it's a out MVP to already one of the most talented teams in the National League.
Yeah.
And creating Jock Peterson and creating quite the outfield between and Betts and Peterson.
Yeah.
So
And like I mean, it's not just like an outfield as far as defense. And those three got to come up to bat at some point in that lineup. So it's a nice little dot.
yeah,
Everybody this week has been saying, well, team stays the way it is and people don't get traded away,
Right.
then this might be the team. The Nationals look good. The Angels are looking all right. I mean,
Yeah.
that might be always something. And never count out the Baltimore Orioles because you never know where
Listen,
those guys will
They're
end up.
pluck. I'll give them. It's a pluck. It's a lot of Xbox heroes on this.
And we're going to put our hopes in this year to rescue the season for the team. It's been a good career before.
Your stats of the month, and you're just like, huh? I was hitting 300. I wonder if he can keep it up.
Let me go grab one of the jerseys before they fly off the shelf, and I'll be able to wear that for 7 before he.
I love
sent
buying player T-shirts of numbers. Nothing makes me happier than an Alberto 57 jersey.
Oh, it's the professional lineman. Come on, he's got the lineman too.
By the
That's
way,
super weird.
Not to pick on the Orioles, but they asked this week asking if I wanted to buy opening day tickets.
Yeah. By the way,
Because I was a previous season ticket holder.
did it tell you the price? Yeah.
Starting at $99 for a 4-pack.
Okay, the 4-pack. Okay, tickets we had before.
No.
Because
I'm sure we could upgrade and get if we wanted to.
I got an email with the ticket package we had before. Which was the 8
No, it's like 20 something, wasn't it?
22 one game
Something
package?
like that.
Remember how much we paid for that package?
I think it was like roughly $3 a seat or something like that.
Yeah. Actually, I think we got you, and we got them for
Well,
$15
because
a seat.
they had different prices for different games.
Okay,
Like if it was a legend game, so technically the Yankee ticket, if you look, it would say or something like that. But if you went to a Blue Jay game, it would say like 15.
Yeah.
So like,
All I know is that I am pretty sure the prices now are higher than when we had season tickets, which was only 3 years ago.
yeah, 4 years. Well,
No, this will be the third. 20. We were there for 2016,
yeah.
17, 18, 4 season. And the prices are higher than.
Well, the economy's booming, so
Yeah, we delayed it because the
especially in
team
Baltimore.
because almost made the playoffs that year.
Yeah.
You guys have had 2 seasons where you barely. I mean, no, you didn't make the 500. You barely made it out of the 50s in. And you're gonna try to upsell me on a damn ticket for the same? No.
Well,
no.
This hustle by the Orioles to try and get me to get like a 4-game pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Explain to them that I go to probably like 3 games a year, but most of them are not in Baltimore.
Yeah. Not there often. That's 5.
I go to 3 Oriole Angel games a year,
Hey,
and then I'll go see them elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Go home for opening. I just feel like it was a lot of money spent, and I want to like it and then get a job or something like that.
Disappointment of losing on opening day at home.
Well,
Well,
I
I
mean, I would. I mean, which
I guess that's something.
just like Ford versus Ferrari at Best Picture. It's just like I'm just happy to be here. We're not seeing much.
I will say,
The studio who put us out was literally bought, and Disney forgot about us. We're just happy to be.
so it's not disappointing though. Was the XF weekend? Oh my gosh! So, guys, most of you probably are not.
How dare you?
I do. I the XFL.
Not everyone who listens is people who work at shop.
I mean, yeah. There are a lot around that age. That's just most older than the people in the United States now who would listen to radio show. Yeah, it wasn't as exciting, but because they are rules to stop the head, a lot of was just like, I'm gonna hit you as hard as I can, try to separate your head from your neck. Now they're doing the same thing, which is we put safety players first. Game exciting in different ways.
A lot of hits that were legal, and they were a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
I'll
I thought it was
liked
better.
it. I thought it up. It didn't like people charging like having like a 40-yard to tackle somebody.
Yeah, and they're not the lot after watching that, the logic of like running backwards for 40 yards down and run into somebody.
Well, I mean, like you have staggered.
I played football, buddy. I know it works. But just like the idea that like your runners on the outside, your jets on the outside, literally sprinting, and then your guys defending them, trying to get ahead enough. After you make the catch, you turn and the guy who's been sprinting the field. What logic does that make? Like, let's all start further down the field. Nobody moves until and then we're somewhere in the 30, 35.
Yeah.
Great. And if you kick it and don't put it in play, the penalty is so.
What I really liked about the XFL here was that the it didn't feel like WWE football. Like,
right. Yeah.
I feel like last time was so poorly that they had WWE people doing like Jim was calling the football, which like was fun. Like not necessarily like I was hoping it wouldn't be, you know, like league altogether. I feel like this version of the X doing that, like it feels like a football league.
Mm-hmm.
The things that make it super off, like things that like are necessarily concerns at this moment. Like, you know, like sometimes the uniforms look like
where Washington D.C. like D.C.
They're playing at Audi Field, the place where the D.C. United.
Oh, that's not either.
Just outside. I mean, it's not in the middle of nowhere. The only way you can get there is by paying $75 for parking. So,
yeah, so it's Chicago, Seattle, LA, and somebody. Dallas?
I don't think it's go.
Maybe it's Dallas, Houston,
Tampa.
Is there one in Florida?
Yeah,
God,
the
Florida
Vipers
does not deserve professional sport.
we keep doing this. I don't know.
But yeah, it was exciting. It was a little off because they were in stadiums that are the size of.
I mean, like if this league has years to like get underneath, get it easy. It'll be more of a thing. The problem is that these new leagues cost so much money, and the amount that you're sinking into it, just like you're never.
It's a. That's why I was thinking Chicago. Or no, Warhawks, some kind of Hawks.
Hold on, let's see here. DC Defenders, Seattle Dragons, Houston Rockets, LA Wildcats, New York Guardians, Tampa Bay Vipers, St. Louis Hawks. So it's not Chicago, St. Louis, Dallas, Renegade. So,
but here's the deal. I came up on that Friday and got
our beloved that's 20, by the way, as you were
killed. We were watching too. That was not a good.
Next weekend, I'm gonna put a lot.
They
go in early, money on on an LA Wildcats game.
Oh, the other good decision they made. You came up on this Friday and you're like, oh, no football. First time in so long, there's no football. But wait, yes, there is football this week. And what happened last time is that Vince McMahon's ego got in the way. Like, we get the NFL, people will watch the game. We're gonna put them on Saturday. There's no on Saturday.
I also enjoy the fact that somebody scheduling department at the XFL has lived on the West Coast for a while, because the start times on the East Coast game are 11 o'clock for Pacific time.
Yes,
people. For whatever 10 o'clock on a Sunday just feels like you never want to like wake up that early on a Sunday when you're supposed to be like sleeping in and up on the week and stuff.
At work at 7:30.
Yeah, I mean, like you just did your Monday through Friday, and just come. You slept in a little bit on Saturday, but Sunday you have to wake up early because you have an Ravens game to wake up. You know, 10 o'clock a.m.
Well, you wake up at 9 to get ready to go out
True,
somewhere because you can't watch it on TV at home.
Oh, if it was so easy.
Yes, yeah. For what it's worth, I'm excited. I'll watch the whole season.
I might even go to. I don't know.
I would like to. It's like, how can you beat?
I mean, we
That's the only problem is going to Staples or whatever it is. StubHub.
It's the Dignity Sports Health Center or something.
Guys, stop. But here's the funny thing I was going to say. It looks a little rinky because they're playing in smaller stadiums and Wildcats and the Chargers stadium, and it more full for a Wildcats game. Than
I was a lot of them were playing in lesser stadiums, if you will.
Yeah.
But the DC or the New York Guardians was playing.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's games where it looks pretty empty in there.
Yeah. It's a big stadium.
It's 80 seats. So it's gonna be tough to
pull the tarps. Pull the tarps.
Just shame tarps on 90% of the field.
Jim? Yeah, there's a lot of
Tarps just spell out like New York loves Indians.
on the top stadium. Yeah, it's fine. But
throw a couple farms in there.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Sponsorship opportunity, guys. But anyway, so wait, I almost played the wrong one. But that's sports ball. So
Yes.
is it? Is that?
Yeah.
It's a little loud.
I'll explain it later.
Okay, sure.
It's not.
Okay.
Any.
Politics.
Yes.
Yes.
As usually in a show like this, we talk about the most important news stories of the week.
Mm-hmm.
We saved a quote of the president for the last segment.
I mean, yes, but
Because clearly it means so much.
was it unexpected?
No.
The moment the vote on witnesses went through, it was just like, all right, so this is over.
The moment Trump became president and they talked about it became like, what is it? You know, like, but Democrats did it. I think that it was a necessity to show that you're willing to take that to call him.
Yeah, I mean, his next term, he'll know that he's got to walk the line.
I feel like he hurts a lot of Republican senators, which is nice. But at the same time, I'm just so. Some of the old guard of the Democratic in charge of like how operation on the Hill are horribly inept and need to go. Like I totally understand everyone hates Nancy Pelosi because she is just the worst at this. She's not the master chess player like McConnell is.
Yeah.
She's not on that level of like mostly because she do the dirty things to win.
Yeah, I mean,
And
Mitch
McConnell
will,
just has no soul about it. Like
he'll
literally
turn the whole over and be like, "Well, I was over here." He's like, "No, you weren't." No,
like I fully expect someday McConnell to like walk into her being like, "We're not a country." It's just like, what?
Not a country.
No, we gave it up.
Yeah.
It was standing in the way of us being able to build a dam. Just seems like a lot right on this dam, Mitt.
Yep.
It's a line we had to draw.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, fine, I guess.
Here's the deal. I'm an aide, member of the House and a member of the Senate.
Yeah.
Isn't it, given that lifespans have increased, for us to put minimum age on? Well, we put him because people need to reach a level of maturity for taking a place in the body. But I think some of them live a life that is full and have reached an age of over maturity for that position. And if we're not going to do term, can we at least?
How about this? How about you're not allowed to take any money that's not your government salary?
No. Says that is.
Oh, I understand, but I'm saying, like, you know, the reason why Mitch McConnell doesn't care when one of his constituents calls him is because he doesn't need to worry about the money that if he never makes $1 off of somebody who actually lives in Kentucky again, he's going to be.
By the way, how many of you know the state Mitch McConnell was the senator from? Corey said the state, and how missed it and could still not tell me what state Mitch McConnell is the senator from because nobody seems to know.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, he's the head of the Senate, right? Yeah. What state's he from? I mean, like, the head of the Senate. Nope, that's not how it works.
Wasn't not elected as the head of the Senate. He had to be a senator first.
Yep, and then all the one who in charge of that. But yeah,
But I mean, like, like, you know, McConnell is and has for a long time been one of the most popular people in government.
Yeah.
He has like a 12% approval rating. Nobody really likes going to win again at a landslide, even though it feels like he's got an opponent that's like Amy McGrath or something like that who's running against him. Looks like it'll be a tighter contest than it usually will, but that still means 40 points.
But
So,
I mean, also he's been had a competition,
and you
so.
know the sort of into the cluster here. All the Democrats who are fucking ruining this need to understand that the consequences are not just the fact that Trump is the president and you're you have to win the primary process. You have to like get enough so that you have neutrality, so that you can be the nominee on the convention, and you could go on to be nominated for the general election, have money in which to do so.
Yep.
And have some sort of organization base. Because now Trump has $200 million sitting just actual like top line talent running his campaign now. It's just, fucking Jared Kushner figuring it out in the back. Like they got people who can make signs and put them up in stadiums, get security, and do all the things that Trump just has no understanding of how to do. Running for the job,
early in the race. Yeah, I mean, he got it when he became the nominee.
But I mean, like, you got to remember, he fired like 3 different campaign heads because, like, at various points in time, like, they weren't to live up to what he needed for a campaign. He needed to graduate to somebody who knew what they were doing.
Those guys in jail now?
Well, yes, but I mean, doesn't change the fact that they're there.
That's true. Yes.
I mean, it's just this whole Iowa thing is such a because there was a real chance to be able to crown somebody on caucus night.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been probably the end of Joe Biden's run.
Thank God.
If the results were on time.
Yep.
Pete would have gotten a huge bump for effectively winning. I mean, there's some conversation like how much of the delegate count should go to him, seeing as Bernie had like a high actual votes cast for him. He won in the popular vote, and Pete won the Electoral College of Iowa.
That's how it works.
The question is, now that Iowa is over, and we're moving on to New Hampshire, should we be saying it's over Iowa in the #1 spot for future elections?
Never be, because there is a law. The Iowa caucus will be held a week to the day before the first event held by any other state.
Yeah, but I mean, change. That's just
no. It change. The law says whenever someone schedules their first event of the election season, ours will be 1 week before.
I'm pretty sure New Hampshire is the only one with the law.
Nope.
That they have to be the first primary in the
Iowa caucus 1 week before the event held. No less than 1 week.
Let me rephrase the question then. Much like I brought up that the Baltimore police, for their ineffective ability to do their job, don't deserve a spy plane.
Sure.
The Iowa Democrats, having shown an inability to do this job, should they get the right of being the first event to political?
How about this? Why the hell do we need a $2 billion app?
Yeah.
Why can't we be like, hey, show of hands? All right. I got seven. Is there anybody here for Marty O'Malley?
All right.
Okay, I got a 0 for him.
Anyone who is there, you got to find a new camp.
Yeah. Sorry.
Some of you did not make 15%. I'm sorry.
But listen, they're getting to make it a more digital election. They need to. I think the largest of these precincts, like 700 people.
Yeah.
You could do a paper ballot in that easily. It's damn Iowa. But we let a bunch of rednecks try to develop an app and it didn't. Well, there you go. That's what happens. That's what you get. So let's just let them do it their way. I think the original way was everybody takes a picture and you drop it into kind of a pot and then I don't remember. But something very rednecky.
I also would like to for the people who don't remember their history, would like to say that this thing happened on the Republican side 8 years. Was it Romney?
Romney, yeah.
Yeah. 8 years ago because Santorum actually won Iowa.
Yeah.
But there's some confusion because of how the votes were being tabulated and like what districts were in, stuff like that. And we had basically the same thing on the Republican side where people or like Romney was effectively saying he won.
Yeah.
Santorum actually won in a very close vote, but he didn't get the traditional Iowa bump because like 4 days to that Santorum actually won.
Yeah.
And by then he was already like Romney was more coronated at that moment.
Yep.
And then off to the races from there.
And I don't think that, it was going to be coronated by any stretch. What happened in Iowa? Because then you have this long stretch of like New Hampshire where Bernie is probably going to pull it out in a landslide. It at least gave him a lot of head to everyone else going into.
Well, I feel Buttigieg if you're Amy Klobuchar.
Yes.
Like, because finishing while with higher percentage than I think most of us would have figured.
Yeah.
12.3% of Iowa is not making you like
spitting distance to Joe Biden.
I mean, you're not feeling like I guess the idea that Biden drops out and the moderates are not in love with Pete because like he's too young, he's just been a mayor, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. Maybe a healthy percentage of that 15.8% that Biden gets goes to Klobuchar, and now she's playing at mid-20s.
Right, back in the race, right?
I mean, mid-20s puts her right with Pete and Bernie, and drops out, and maybe she gets more of a woman vote. Like, I think she's trying to see the chess pieces as like if other people drop out.
That sounds like a little O'Malley though. It's just like, listen, let me tell you, win this, right? There's 5 of us right now. I just need 4 of those 5 to drop out and to give me their total support, and then I'll be slightly behind Bernie, and we'll be on our way. I'm not far. You add all percentages to the 0% that I have, and I'll be right in there.
And I mean, like, to me, it's seen that I feel like if anyone was going to drop out, it would have been Yang or Steyer.
Yeah,
because they did
nothing,
couple percentage points each. Didn't get any delegates, like just completely on the outside looking in. I don't see the liability of their campaigns.
Yang made the promise that he was going to make it all the way to New Hampshire no matter what. So we're gonna see.
I mean, he can pay for it if he needs. Like, maybe he's just hoping that once he gets to New Hampshire, like percent of the vote, and they can make some sort of argument, like we're building the momentum.
Northeastern former Republican Democrats there, so maybe his like, hey, I'm a businessman and I know what I'm doing. Waves there.
I feel like the 2 white states leading off this thing don't really help, like in terms of a minority candidate.
My favorite tweet of the week is, can we stop about the Iowa caucus? We have a much more important, less demographically representative primary to talk about that's happening. There's one place we could go that less represents the United States than Iowa. It's New Hampshire. So let's go over there and care about who is voting in Dixie's Hollow or whatever that fucking place is called. What's it called?
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
It's from the West Wing. You should know.
Hartsfield Landing.
Hartsfield Landing.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think that's a real town.
It's not. It's not. Yes.
Yeah.
Something Hollow. Actually, the name of the town.
Yeah.
But Gulfers Hollow. Gulfers.
Has it held up recently? I haven't followed it.
No, so it's not representative anymore since like 2012. But there's still the people to vote in a primary.
There was. So what we're discussing is they made reference to this place on the West Wing at one point. There's one town in New Hampshire that votes ahead of everybody else, and they do it sort of caucus style where they read the names of the people in the town out loud. And because they do it like the night before.
No. They do
it in the morning.
They meet at midnight on Day. And there's only like 7 registered voters in the town. It's easy to be like, voice vote.
Yeah.
Vote, how do you vote, how do you vote? And they're technically able to actually vote because a caucus is a caucus, not a vote, in the nation.
Yeah.
And so it used to be that the outcome of that.
What you're talking about all day, like, well, Biden did really Hartsfield. Like,
and they had determined like 70% of the elections in 100 years before that.
Yeah.
But then
and there were some of them that were like, they predicted it was both a Republican and a Democratic primary, and they predicted the nominee, but not necessarily the
winner of
the final election.
hard to do with a sample of 27 voters. So not exactly scientific.
I always like when we go away from, like, you know, the math with huge sample sizes, and we go to the chicken bones and heart.
Yes, yeah.
What did the 27 witches of New Hampshire?
However, you know what else New Hampshire exists, don't you?
No, what?
My favorite presidential competitive candidate ever.
Vermin
Supreme is back in the race. Not only is he in the race, but there is a chance that my two favorite candidates face off against each other because Vermin Supreme.
They got in a fist fight. If Pete Buttigieg got in a fist fight with Vermin Supreme, it would be the most 2020 story I've heard.
Oh, Vermin Supreme stepped out in the street and called out Pete Buttigieg to his car and then blocked its path and wouldn't let him leave. And I'm like, this is the most 2020 thing that could happen. The openly gay former Afghanistan and Iraq veteran called out by a guy with a boot on his head and be telling him, stop! You need to be like this is democracy. And listen, I keep pitching all of you on just give absolute power. 18 years of absolute power. I promise at the end of it, I will back over. This and someone has just got and say enough is enough of this. Mitch McConnell on the one hand, Pete Buttigieg being called out by the said on the other.
Okay, but hold on. Here's the problem. And this is something that's weighing on me, right?
Yes.
Because I'm voting in the Democratic Party in California here. It's on Super Tuesday, so it's going to have big influence.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know necessarily if a vote for anyone other than Bernie means anything.
I think it does.
It's looking like it's going to be a lot closer than originally predicted. So perhaps.
We're
but
still
then
a ways off from Super
the
Tuesday.
question that people who are going into New Hampshire day, if they're listening on the day that it's released, and why wouldn't you?
Yep.
They're going to be asking themselves, who am I pulling for? So right now, sort of like really early on in the process here, who do you think is showing the best ability to be the leader that Democrats should just sort of like fall in line behind? Because that's a lot of traditional Democrats are saying he's too far to the left. He's going to divide this country. Even further. You know, Trump's just going to talk Democrat the entire time. It'll be over. A lot of people are saying Joe's the way to go, but not proven his ability to do that.
So I will say, if I'm the one pulling the lever,
if you were the vote for California,
yes, my vote would be for the lever that drops the guillotine down on the neck of democracy. But absent that, who should they vote for?
I don't think that's a candidate. Oh, I mean,
not.
Vermin Supreme may be registered as a
No,
candidate.
because his thing
You don't
is
want to tie Vermin into the
ponies and zombies. That's his thing, ponies and zombies. But here's the deal. Bernie is the guy who's on the left, probably furthest left of everybody there. Going to socialist the whole time? Yes. But if Biden gets elected, Trump's going to socialist too.
Yeah.
At least Bernie is going to come out there and, as you said last, he's been the same guy since day one.
Yeah.
A crazy Vermont Democrat or independent, depending how you look at it. But from the very beginning, leftist from the beginning.
Yeah.
However, he's going to lose. He's going to lose to Trump. If you want to beat Trump and not just stand up for democratic values, the person you need to vote for is Pete Buttigieg. And all of my left, especially the people at work, have been like, how can you be on that? I'm like, if you want a Democrat to win, that's who you need. I just showed you who is going to be up.
Mm-hmm.
Every person left of center voted for Bernie.
Yeah.
And every person who is like, I can't vote for one of these extreme leftists, voted for Pete. And those guys are the ones that on the other side of the aisle, there's a lot of who are saying, I cannot vote for Trump. You got to vote for him.
I think a lot of people have been levying well, he's only been a small town mayor.
Who?
And I'm kind of like the guy who's currently in the office, no elected experience. He barely ran his own. So
is there a chance that Pete does worse than Donald Trump at this point?
I mean, like, I feel like if Pete wins, he's going to be able to who's who of Democratic all-star can come in and run.
Can I paint
you
a
could like
picture?
bring missile rod just to like run the ship, and you got like you have whoever you want. You have the pick of the litter. The problem with Trump was, like when he couldn't get Colin Powell to like be a part of the administration because Colin Powell would just be like, no, I ain't dealing with that.
Nope.
You call Bolton.
Yeah, no,
that's what you deserve. Like,
but I think I said this last year about one of the amazing moments we could have with the Buttigieg presidency, and I just want to say again, I'm against this entire fucking thing. Burn it all down. Imagine going to having reports come out of the G8, and instead of all the world leaders laughing, our president's like, huh? Every time someone says something in another language, he's sitting at a table and conversing with Macron in French, and then turning to whoever replaces Angela Merkel, and speaking to her or him in German, and speaking to the Italian prime minister or ambassador in Italian. And like, imagine that's the American president, that he's conversing multiple language at the same time with someone in their native tongue, rather than forcing all of them to be like, Mr. President, I
do feel like so Roberto brought up the idea of like, has any candidate been dumb enough to like sort of call out the fact that Pete's gay is like a reason why somebody shouldn't vote for him? And I'm like, no, because all the Democrats are pretty haven't like wanted to like that Scarlet A put on like being anti-gay or homophobic in any kind of way.
Though, all of them support equal rights.
I know.
How are you going to be like, hey, that guy's gay, don't vote for him? But I'm totally with the gay.
I do think that there's a part of it might be just a. It might be interesting to throw into the debate with Trump, just knowing that he probably can't hold back itchy trigger, being like, we're gonna elect a gay or something, and then just watch the whole thing just start like tumbling down a little bit.
He drops the F word on TV.
Oh man!
And Pete calmly just correct him and says, "Mr. President, that is not really a word.
My name is Pete.
My name is Pete. We don't use that word. That we find that word to be very, very negative and use." And he's like, "What word? The F word?" And he's like, "Yes, that would be the word." And like, how many times is he going to say it in the next exchange?
It just keeps right now. You have a carte blanche now that you've said it out loud. Just go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you the F card, but I mean,
like I'll just sit here and take it. If that's the way you want to play this whole thing.
I bet you will sit there and take it, won't you? Ooh, yeah.
All right, so about that whole shooting this guy on Avenue thing,
one thing you don't have to worry about me. I have no grabbing her by the pussy. Thank you.
Oh man, I wouldn't necessarily say Pete should say that though.
No, he absolutely should. But again, my position is burn this whole thing down. Who cares?
Speaking of which
by the way, is I think why I'll vote for Trump last time.
Speaking of which, I think speaking of burning it all down, we should the Baltimore corner.
Yes, where you get to.
Indeed.
You gotta tell me if you're gonna.
I just right into it.
I got my watch all messed up. Anyway, yes, go ahead.
So, 2 items before we get out of here. Number 1, there was a debate the other day, and before the debate happened, apparently, here for Sheila Dixon ran up and punched Brandon Scott in the face.
No, wait, who are these 2 people you're mentioning?
Well, Sheila Dixon was the former mayor, resigned in disgrace because of a gift card scandal. Scott is the current city council who is also running for mayor.
Both of them are now running for mayor. Right, of course, yes.
So, mayoral candidate punched in the face.
Only natural. Yeah.
So, volunteers already been. They're no longer allowed to be a volunteer. There is a restraining order against the. And it seems like everyone's sort of moved on, but it just seems like too funny of a story not to share out loud.
Yeah, so this is Baltimore, where people just get shot on a regular basis.
Punch in the face ain't so bad comparatively speaking.
I mean, I think if I'm Brandon Scott, I make a joke about like, well, at least he didn't shoot me. Although maybe that's in bad taste.
Maybe they don't want to hear that from the mayoral candidate.
Maybe not. This is why I can't run for public anymore. I've lost that line that tells me, you know what? I used to have a line that said, "Don't say that. That's going to be wrong." now the voice in my head says, "Fuck it, let's see what happens."
Do it.
But nothing surprises me now. I imagine that at some point, some man will be like, "I want this race right now, arm wrestle, let's go." I just winner take all.
Joe Biden.
And then Sheila Dixon, yeah, all right.
I watched Over the Top like 9 times. Fuck.
I use the gift cards at Gold's Gym. Baltimore will never surprise me. So
the other story that I was hearing about today, that the in the high court available to them, trying to argue that they don't need to be financially responsible for the actions of the Gun Trace Task Force.
So let's walk through that logic. The police force, Gun Trace Task Force, was acting so wild that the city who was employing them and ignoring this behavior should not be held responsible for the things that they did on duty and also not.
Well, I mean, like, even though, part of this was like stealing overtime.
Yeah.
So they weren't actually on the clock for the time that they were getting paid. Technically, for the city version, they were on the clock for that whole.
Yeah. But they were acting so wild and out of control that the city should not be held responsible for the actions that they did during that period, which is a unique argument. I think it's been made by some of my employees before. Just, like, well, what do you want me to do? He's just acting crazy. You're his boss. Tell him to stop. Well, I mean, it's out of control. You can't hold me. Like, what? Okay. All right. Yeah.
They're going to change the city to, under normal circumstances, stops here. But sometimes.
Sometimes it doesn't. But, and the problem is, I can't say this is going to be a losing Just, I mean, the heart of the argument is we should not make the overburdened taxpayers of the city pay for the sins of a few, because in the end, the city will never. It's an empty bag. We can't go back to people to get repaid.
Yeah, well, like I was saying to you, the money that they stole went to things that have already been spent. Like one of the officers bought Super Bowl tickets, accommodations and airfare and food and drinks in Miami or whatever it was. And that's just money that you can't get back. You can't get a refund on a Super Bowl ticket.
And now he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life.
Right.
So it's not like he's going to earn any money that we'll be able to get back.
And when he gets out, he's not going to be able to be a police officer anymore.
It's one job he's had his whole life.
And the one thing that could potentially make him money.
And do you trust that guy in a job? I don't know if I hire him at McDonald's. Like, you got a bit of an anger problem, and I hear you have a thing about drugs.
You
steal stuff, so...
Part of the time you spent in jail was stealing.
Have you ever been accused or found guilty of overtime or other time theft?
Well, technically...
Like, I wasn't really guilty of it. I was charged with it.
Listen, all the supervisors said that if I found a gun, I'm just supposed to write 5 hours of overtime.
Yeah.
It's basically a reward.
Sure. So, no. Theft, no. Reward, yes.
I claimed many overtime rewards.
Yeah, so I don't know if I would hire any of them. So it's basically an empty bag.
But I mean, like, the potential fallout from this is gargantuan, because you got to think that there's over 1,000 cases that have automatically been brought up to, like, review because these officers have been in touch with, have hands involved in it. And then there's other officers still on the periphery.
Yeah.
Had thousands of more cases.
Who may be dirty and we just haven't
gotten to them yet. Yep. They just arrested a 13th person this week in connection with GTTF related things. And they don't look like part of the lawyer's comments were, we know there's more and we're not going to stop. Like, That's sounds to me like there's a lot more cases that could potentially be. And like what's the cost if you're a lawyer for if you're taking up like a civil city here?
Yeah.
You have a client spent 5 years in jail off of the GTTF.
Yep.
You're going to make an argument that this person lost their best years of being able to find like the gainful they'd have for the rest of their life.
18 to 23, school, the ability to go to college, the start of their earning years, which is going to put them back to life now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's precedent too. It's like you're going to look back and say, well, this generally has paid out $1.6 to $2.8 million. So we are looking for something in that range or in excess of.
Also, something that's not brought up very often. We were kind of like half joking around about the interview process that you go into if you're a felon. Even if you aren't a felon, even if you defending yourself in a case that didn't actually end up being like charged, like you know, if you go in to apply for a job the day after you get off of the murder case that you were just found for,
Then too.
Yeah, well, number one, they're going to Google you and they're going to say Rob Cheek murder case, and that becomes a problem. But if they say like, oh, you haven't worked for the last 2 years, what's been happening? I was wrongly accused of murder.
Yeah.
I literally just got done fighting the case. It ended today. I was not guilty on all charges, and there was no evidence, and I had to spend years in jail because the state was trying to railroad me.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make the guy go like, you know what? I totally trust everything you're saying, and am willing to bring somebody who was accused of murder into my workplace because
You're telling me that Kevin Plank hire all of those people?
I know.
In an effort to make the city a better place? He doesn't.
hiring people with felony convictions is something that I feel like more people should be doing, just as a good thing.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, they do honestly make their mistake and then get over it. Like, I don't want to go back to jail. Like, that's a common refrain of people who come out of it. They desperately want to try and make their life right. And at times when they go back to jail, it's nobody will give them an opportunity to do anything legal to make money. And then you're right back to selling drugs or whatever you were doing to get in jail in the first place.
Yeah, and a lot of those grow out of the person that they were when they went to jail. What does Gergo say? A lower crime by 90%, just lock up every male between 15 and 25. Because when that guy gets out at 28 and he's just like, man, I was an angry kid. I turned into an angry young man.
I'm better now.
I committed a crime 5 days after my 18th birthday and spent 10 years in jail. And I look back at that kid and I have no idea who I was. But I can tell you I'm not that angry kid anymore. And I don't ever want to go back. But now I got a record.
Yeah,
felony,
but going back to it, you're a lawyer for a kid.
Yeah.
Who did 5 years for something that what clearly was proven not true.
Yes.
Now you're suing the city. What kind of payout are you looking for?
Well, I mean, I think kids in similar situations in the city in the past, I've seen those settlements at 1.5 to million.
Right.
So I'm asking for double that, 6, that we're going to settle somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Like at half.
With the idea of pitching 6 merely to bring up the price of where the eventual
because I know that
settlement will be.
They're never. But I don't want to start at 3 and end up at
1.5, yeah,
9,000, or something like that. So yeah, you over ask, and there's an establishment of a precedent for how much they pay for that. But in the end, also you're on a losing proposition on another side because they're going to say the average kid coming from the neighborhood where your kid comes from ends up in jail eventually anyway. So yeah, this one was wrong, and we got him at the wrong time in the wrong place. But maybe he would eventually have committed a crime, actually, and why would we pay this future criminal?
That's
$2.5 million.
sounds a lot like innocent until proven guilty, but there's subtle differences.
We're talking about Baltimore here. I don't know if you understand. Proven guilty is not really a concept that they are so familiar with.
I think that just given that, even if you called it $2 million, and you're talking about 1,000 cases, that's a sizable amount of money that would be paid out.
Yep.
And
but
not
I think that
an easy hole to dig out of.
It's an annuity. We're gonna pay everybody $20,000 a year for the next 1,000 years, and then hopefully we'll finally pay it off to your grandkids. The city goes bankrupt. Get the awards.
Or it feels like if you just didn't have a police department, then that amount of money could basically just go to the settlements.
Alternative.
Make the police department work for free.
Yes, or that FOP's got to have a decent retirement fund, don't they? Wonder how much is in the retirement fund. You think that's for all of it?
I bet you there's some sort of legal thing going on there that would make it impossible to
but
lose in a judgment.
You know the thing I love about legal things?
Yeah.
Changed. All you need is to have the government intervene, and the legal thing becomes an okay thing. Just like Citizens United. It was a Supreme Court decision. It can be undone by a
Constitutional
amendment. Unfortunately, the people who need to make that change are going to be the people who benefit from it. In this case,
you know, I was just thinking how long it's been since we've had a constitutional amendment too.
1983, the failure of the Equal Rights Amendment.
Do you think we'll have one in our lifetime? It's so hard to imagine anything to rise to that level.
Technically speaking, we did. Because a state voted for the ERA last year, the year before, and technically speaking, that gave them a 3/4 majority, which means it should pass. But
I was sort of speaking new things.
I was gonna say, but there is actually a unconstitutional provision within the Equal Rights Amendment that put a timer on how long people had to vote.
Yeah.
So technically speaking, it's now law because of this other thing that's built in and unconstitutional. But I don't think we will ever reach the point where we have 3/4 states doing
ratify something
that's going to be anything that will be a positive action. Yes, I think if there's we end up like a Handmaid's Tale, because 3/4 of the state governments end up in the hands of Republicans, goddamn convention, and start talking about how this women's with voting rights are not necessarily the best thing for the country.
So the next country might have some constitutional amendments to look forward to in our lifetime.
Well, I mean, listen, if we're going to rewrite
That's what you're saying.
If we're going to rewrite the Constitution and we need a little ink, blood works wonders. Guillotines fix everything.
Or you know what else works?
What's
ink.
That? Ink? I mean, but
ink is fine.
If you want something dramatic, you gotta, you know.
You want to make something dramatic, you know where you can go?
Where's that?
OTheAnthem.com, CoreToTheAnthem.com, OTheAnthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. And more of me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoreyBakerFilm, and at LegendsCP5 on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Saw Ford vs. Ferrari. We'll be doing a review. I didn't quite have all the thoughts I wanted before going into it, so couched it for a day. Will probably be out on Thursday, and yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, and of course, we want to remind you that you can find more OD Anthem at OD Anthem on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's available everywhere, basically, at OD Anthem. As we talked about earlier, anchor.fm/OD Anthem and youtube.com/OD Anthem are all of your visual and audio needs. And everything OD Anthem, including the merch store, which has some great new merchandise, is available at OTheAnthem.com. And if you're looking more from me, you can find me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com. Find links in my in the everything that I'm doing, including the reviews and the books, which are available.
Those books. Sorry, I was. There were comments here. Somebody, Skyline, Frankfurt, Germany.
Oh, hey. Well, hi, Skyline, Germany. I should pay more attention to that. When we didn't have any comments after a while, I just clicked away. But going back in the studio, record a bunch of new reviews. What have we seen? Little Women.
Yep.
Ford vs. Ferrari. I got a couple things off HBO, a couple things off Netflix. I'll probably do a bonus episode. And a new Rob Explains Everything coming up very soon, finally. So you're going to want to miss that. All that's going to be available on YouTube at Rob Cheek on YouTube.
Outstanding.
All right.
And we're going to do another show at some point this week.
Yes.
I don't know exactly when, because I'm going to Vegas this weekend on Sunday.
We're going to be ships passing in the night on Sunday.
So we'll figure it out. We may or may not go live. We'll figure out.
I think we should. Why not? Yeah, the episode will be up next week, but you'll be able to take it in this week whenever we go up. Maybe not on Facebook. Maybe we'll just YouTube or somewhere where less people watch. Because that's the point, right? We don't want to spoil it for you guys. But yeah, so keep an eye out for the new episode. Obviously, the new episode of the podcast will be up every Tuesday, as it always is, as long as Corey edits it before he leaves for Vegas. Because once he's in Vegas, it's not going to happen.
Time is a question mark once you land in Vegas.
Yes, yeah. Also going to be a question mark. I have doubts that you're actually going to get anything done while you're there. But that's
we'll see.
That's neither here nor there.
All right, well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. Don't know if it's good, but as always, you're listening to the The Anthem podcast, the Anthem Digital Network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Don't get into trouble up in New Hampshire, y'all.